Ever found yourself copy-pasting AI-generated code from a browser into your terminal, only to end up rewriting half of it just to make it actually work? Yeah, I've done that too, running back and forth between tools, fixing broken suggestions, and wondering why AI still feels so disconnected from the way we actually build things. But Google just dropped something that fixes all of that, and honestly, it caught me off guard. So in this video, I'm diving into Gemini CLI, Google's new open-source AI agent that puts their most advanced model right into your terminal. We'll break down what it does, why it's free when everyone else is charging, and how it quietly unlocks a completely new way to code, automate, and research, without ever leaving your command line. And to start, let's look at what makes this tool feel less like a chatbot and more like an actual dev partner. What makes Gemini CLI revolutionary? Here's what Google just accomplished that no one saw coming. They took their most advanced AI model, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and made it completely accessible through your command line interface. This isn't just about convenience. This is about fundamentally changing the economics of AI development. Every other major AI coding assistant requires expensive subscriptions or pay-per-use APIs. GitHub Copilot costs money. OpenAI's Codex requires API credits. Claude for coding isn't free, but Google just said, here's our best model, completely free for individual developers. The technical specs are staggering. We're talking about a 1 million token context window, massive enough to analyze entire code bases in a single session. Most other models give you a fraction of that context. This means Gemini CLI can understand and work with truly large projects, not just individual files. But here's where it gets really interesting. Under the hood, Gemini CLI operates using a React loop. It can analyze your prompts, access external tools and resources, and then take action based on what it learns. This isn't just a smart autocomplete tool, it's an AI agent that can reason through complex problems and execute solutions. The features that change everything. Let me walk you through what this tool actually does, because the capabilities are mind-blowing. Advanced code understanding and generation. The code features go far beyond what you might expect. You can ask it to write entire functions, debug complex errors, or refactor your codebase using natural language instructions. The 1 million token context means it can analyze multiple large files simultaneously and understand the relationships between different parts of your project. I tested this with a React application that had dozens of components, and Gemini CLI understood the entire architecture. Shell command execution with safety. Here's what sets it apart. It can execute shell commands on your behalf. Imagine asking it to run the tests and fix any failures you find, and it actually does both. Google built in smart safety measures. It asks for your confirmation before running any command that could affect your system. Real-time web browsing integration. The web browsing integration is where things get really powerful. Gemini CLI can tap into Google Search directly from your terminal. When you ask it a question that requires current information, like the latest documentation for a library, it fetches that information in real time and incorporates it into its response. Extensible platform via Model Context Protocol. Here's a feature most people are overlooking: the Model Context Protocol support. This makes Gemini CLI extensible. You can plug in external tools, services, or data sources as contextual modules. Want it to access your company's internal APIs? Build an MCP extension. This effectively turns Gemini CLI into a platform for AI agents, not just a fixed tool. The unprecedented pricing strategy. Let's talk about what might be the most disruptive aspect: the pricing. Google is offering Gemini 2.5 Pro access completely free when you log in with a personal Google account. The usage limits are extraordinary: 60 model requests per minute and 1,000 requests per day. Entirely free. Google measured internal usage patterns and then doubled the limits to ensure most developers never hit the ceiling. This isn't a limited trial. This is the full power of Gemini 2.5 Pro with usage allowances that Google calls the industry's largest for free AI access. But here's how this impacts the competitive landscape. While Google keeps individual use free, they have clear monetization paths for enterprises. The Gemini Code Assist standard plan runs about $19 per user per month, and the enterprise tier costs around $45 monthly. These paid tiers add enterprise security features, team management, and the ability to train custom models on your private codebase. This pricing strategy removes barriers for individual developers while still capturing value from organizations that need enterprise features. Google is betting that by making AI development tools ubiquitous, they'll create a much larger market for their cloud services. Real-world use cases that matter. Let me show you 3 specific ways this tool could transform your development workflow. First, imagine having an AI pair programmer that never gets tired and has access to the entire internet. You could ask Gemini CLI to review your payment processing script for security vulnerabilities, and it would analyze your code, check current security best practices online, and suggest improvements based on the latest standards. It can even apply the fixes with your approval. Second, think about automated research and documentation. Because Gemini CLI can perform Google searches and process large amounts of text, you could use it to create intelligent documentation generators. Ask it to summarize the top solutions for this error message from Stack Overflow, and it will search, analyze, and provide you with a comprehensive answer with references. Third, consider the DevOps automation possibilities. Gemini CLI can serve as an intelligent operations assistant. You could ask it to set up a new Docker container for our web app, and it would create the Docker file, run the build commands, and launch the container, asking for confirmation at each step. Because it's extensible, you could integrate it with your cloud infrastructure APIs and manage resources through natural language commands. Why this changes the game? Here's what Google just accomplished that goes beyond the technical features. They've made a strategic bet that AI should be as fundamental as the command line itself for developers. By offering this level of capability for free, they're not just competing with existing tools, they're expanding the entire market. The open source nature of Gemini CLI is equally significant. Unlike closed-source alternatives, developers can inspect the code, contribute improvements, and build trust through transparency. This community-driven approach could lead to rapid evolution and adoption. Google's integration strategy is also worth noting. Gemini CLI shares core technology with their VS Code extensions and cloud services, creating a unified AI experience across different development environments. You can start a task in your IDE and continue it in the terminal seamlessly. The bottom line: Google's Gemini CLI represents more than just another AI tool. It's a fundamental shift in how AI integrates into development workflows. By combining unprecedented free access, powerful capabilities, and extensible architecture, Google has created something that could genuinely change how developers work. The question isn't whether this tool is impressive, it clearly is. The question is whether it will live up to its potential and how quickly other companies will respond to this level of free access. I'm planning to do a deep dive hands-on review of Gemini CLI next week, testing it against real development projects and comparing it directly with other AI coding assistants. What aspect of Gemini CLI interests you most? The free pricing, the massive context window, or the extensibility features? Let me know in the comments. This is bitbiased.ai, where we cut through AI hype with real analysis. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our detailed testing of major AI releases like this one. The AI development landscape is changing fast, and we'll make sure you stay ahead of it all.